And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Episode 819. This is Farmers in Finance. My name is Rico, and I'm with you today, presenting to you. The title of the day is, for whoever's interest, whoever's watching out there, one mistake in your will can destroy generational wealth. So today's show, yes, we're going to dive deep into wills and legacies and what to do with estate planning. So if you're interested, please stay tuned and we'll get on with the show. Okay, well, first of all, I'm Rico. I am Farmers in Finance, former farmer. Just a little bit about me for if you're tuning in from somewhere and you haven't watched the video. I would like you, first of all, to subscribe to my channel. I posted the QR code over there, up on the top corner. Any subscription to my channel, it's my channel's name is Financial Freedom with Rico. It's appreciated. It's only takes a click, but it's at least a motivator for me to continue doing these videos and giving you values, and also a place where we can just interact. And you can ask me questions, and you can ask me things that you want to know about, whether it's financial related or real estate or farming. I've been in everything, and I've done quite a bit in my life. I'm on the road to success, and the path is not easy. And everyone out there that knows what it takes has done the work and put in the time. So this is what I'm doing. This is mainly is my purpose. My goal is to create value for people and educate, and letting you know that there is hope out there. I was just at one show the other day, and we were talking about mental health, and we were talking with a doctor, and what she is seeing. Like, there's so much information out there that if you have a problem or an ailment, it's easy to fix in a sense, because there's so much education about that. But there's not as much education on mental, how to stay motivated, how to stay, focused and continue on and not get dragged down by life events, right? So a little bit about me. I graduated in mechanical engineering in my 20s. I went to completely opposite. I went to from mechanical engineering, I went into constructions, where I found a really purposeful time, and it was building houses, building bathrooms, doing renovations, which I really enjoyed it. Still to this day, I still enjoy doing consultation and helping out people with their renovations. After that, I took off from the busy life, the city, the stuck in traffic days, and I went to farming in the Okanagan, and I moved there, started my own family. Got married, had our honeymoon in the Okanagan, and here I sit today, and I'm a realtor and a financial educator, so that I can share my struggles and my wins, so that other people can relate and find their purpose in their life. So I hope you stay tuned to the show, and let's get going. Um, this episode is about. It's not about death. It's about the responsibility that you have for your family, or your friends, or anyone uh, that you leave when you get to that day, the crazy day where you pass on. So it's about wills, right? So I'm going to start with the quote of the day, like always. Um, the quote of the day is, "You don't get what you want, you get what you prepare for." This quote is by Naval Ravikant. So, what you prepare for. What does this quote to me? I don't know about you. Please leave it in the comment. What first sparks in you? What gets you thinking? What does it start to sink in? Like, do you have to listen to it again? I can give it to you again. You don't get what you want, you get what you prepare for. I picked this quote today because it's part of the will. The will is technically not something that you get, but it's something that you prepare for. But you prepare for your family, your legacy, for whoever you leave behind on this planet, right? So this goes to say that wills are preparation, and silence, not doing anything, not being prepared. It's a decision as well. Like today, I was listening to another podcast from Tony Robbins, and he said, a lot of people struggle with getting motivation and getting to do something. But if you look at everyone that has made it in this world, that has made sense of their life, has started at the same point where you're starting, and just had a story in their head, had a vision of what they wanted, so took that vision, made it in a preparation, a status quo. This always brings me back to the book that I was reading, Be Your Future Self Now. Great book. I highly recommend it. And the book was about Mr. Beast. And I'm sure everybody has heard about Mr. Beast. And the way he grew his YouTube channel was just a vision. He just had a vision. He set goals. He set markers. He actually even talked to himself. So he stood out to the camera and just talked to himself and had a conversation with his future self. So it was like, you better have, at first it was like the future self in 6 months, right? So he's like, oh, you better have 100 viewers or 100 subscribers. And then his future self a year was like, you better have 2,000 subscribers. You better be good at this. You better add value to people. And then he went and he surpassed his goals. As of today, he's probably got 10 million subscribers, and he's just doing crazy things, but they're impactful. It's making an impact. He's turning people into raving fans, right? So the show is about wills. Wills. What are they? What do you think about? What do usually people think about wills? So there's a few common beliefs, and one of them is a will controls everything I own. I don't know if you have ever heard of it, but there's lots of names for a will as well. There is last testament, and these names kind of like, whenever I hear these words, I don't know about you, leave in the comment what a will creates for you. What does it envision? When you hear those words, what does a will mean to you? And well, I can go through the common beliefs. A will is something that controls everything that you own. For example, yes and no, right? Like it controls the way you want it to go. If another common mistake is if the will is written down, it will work. Oof, that's a tough one. Um, I don't think there's ever been a time where something that was written down, and I want to refer not in a religious way, but to one of the biggest books in this lifetime. It's the Bible, and there's a lot of things that are written on that book, but they're not really listened. And it would be a good instruction manual if people actually listened. And exactly in the Bible, that's a perfect reference. There is Old Testaments and New Testaments, so the will needs to get updated as well. You know, life changes, things happen in life that you need to update and keep current. So nothing that is written down will actually work, but that's a common belief. And then another one is, well, when I ask this question, is like, do you have a will? And then, oh no, my family will figure it out. They will know what to do. Um, we'll talk about this in the future here, but careful what you say, because if that's what you think is the case, I will show you a few ways of dispute that uh, belief. Um, Another one is the courts. Well, when we speak about wills, everything goes to the court. So the courts will fix the mistakes. No, they will actually do something else, and we'll talk about that as well. Um, and the other one, the last one, which is none of them were in actual order for like importance, but another common disbelief about wills is I already have one, so I'm fine. A will is not something uh, that it's written in stone and that's it. You put it in a drawer, you tell somebody where it is, and then you move on from there, right? A will is actually something very, very important. It's your wishes of what you want done with your greatest assets, right? When it comes to what happens to your body, what happens to your house, what happens to your wealth that you have accumulated, what happens to your legacy. I mean, in EXP we can will our attraction, our revenue share. So that means that we can pass on whatever income, so that our children, friends, family can actually benefit from what you created, right? And again, I want to say this here and again. One of my wills, one of my promises that I made is I want to plant 2 million trees. So I'm sticking to it. I'm still working at it, and I just got jotted down what I have to do, and it's a progress. It's quite the challenging challenge, but I love it. Okay, so let's go to the next session here. Let me just try to make the slides correlated to what I'm talking about. I hope these helps. And if you're listening online in the future as well, I have slides, so you can go to my YouTube channel. And again, I just posted up a QR code, but you can just send me a message, and please subscribe and like this video if you found it useful. And yeah, we'll just continue on. So what a will actually is. So rebuild understanding with clarity. So a will answers 4 core questions. Okay, it's written in a matter. All wills have to be written the same. Like it's like there is instructions on how to write a will, and nowadays, man, it's pretty easy. And I'll show you what goes in there, who you got to appoint, and what the jobs and the roles of the different peoples that are in the will making. Okay, so who's in charge? The executor. Okay, the executor, and we'll talk about this in detail, is the person that actually executes the will, as the word says. And he's got a very, or he or she has got a very important role. And the role is to put the will in place, manage everything. But we'll talk this deeply. And this is a super important part. And a lot of people don't really understand this role. And that can cause a little bit of failure, which we'll discuss in a bit. Okay. A will is pretty much, in simple terms, who gets what. It's your wishes. It's your will. Who gets what. You decide where your estate assets go divided to, who they go to, your house or your vacation house, or your stock or your revenue share, anything that is an asset that you've built on, your business, your everything you decide where it goes, not the government. Okay. I wanted to just show, not about fear, because we got enough of that out there. This show is about being aware, that if you don't do this, this will happen. Okay. If you decide that you don't need a will, who cares? It goes on. Just know that you are giving the decision to somebody else. Somebody will make the decision. You can stay in silence, like I said at the beginning of the show, or you can say something. And the best way to say something is put it on paper, right? Simple. Just write it down. Another thing that it's very important that a will does is, who are the beneficiaries? The beneficiaries are the people that will benefit from your estate's assets. So there is different levels. Whoever is important in your life, and you want to leave something to them, you want to give them something, and give them the gift of your energy that you have stored in an asset, just give the beneficiary what you wish for. Okay. And then the most important part is your intent. What do you want to do with it? Where do you want it to go? You can have it as defined as you want it, or you can have it as broad as you want it. This would all matter, and it's important to really get knowledgeful in this part, because your intent has to be super simple, that anybody can read your will and do it, and then it has to be also actionable, something that can be done. You can't ask the world for miracles in a sort of sense. Okay. So core definitions. Okay. So let me see if I can do the slides here. The core definitions that you must understand is the executor. So this is an extremely important role. When I was doing the research for this, and I was trying to figure out who named me the executor of their estate, I was like, oh wow, I didn't know how much responsibility I have. And it's purposeful and it's noble, but there is like huge legal and potential implications that a lot of people don't understand when they say yes. And when you ask something too, you got to know what you're asking for. If you don't know what you're asking for, like in a will, like being an executor for someone, then you don't know what kind of gift you could give them, or what importance are they in your life, right? So first of all, the executor is the legal manager of the estate. Okay, so he has to deal with everything from getting the will, bringing it to the courts. So you kind of got to be like a little bit of a lawyer in a sense. And that's why most of the times people rely on lawyers and notaries to conduct their will because they're the ones more knowledgeable. But it doesn't matter that you have to pick somebody that has that kind of knowledge. You just got to pick somebody that has the potential and the understanding and the wanting to be that person, right, in your life or in your past life, because this is after you leave. You have a fiduciary duty. The fiduciary duty is one of the most important things in any business. I mean, I'm in real estate, so I have a fiduciary duty to my clients and for their best interest, not mine. And same with the executor. It's not the interest of the person that you're giving it to, but it's the interest of the one that has wrote the will, the one that you're portraying his intent. And the executor other role, important core value, has to be he has to accept the responsibility and liability, because I will tell you in a little bit why they would be held liable. It's an important passage. And a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that an executor is like this noble act. Wow, thank you, brother. You have taken on my will, and you're responsible, and you have this fiduciary duty to me. But it's actually a lot of people mistaking it with a job. And nowadays in life, it could get frustrating and very emotional. I mean, a time passing. That's why you got to think about who you give this role to. If it's a family or friend, in some ways, you don't want them to be involved and being part of the beneficiary side of things. You want to keep them outside of that. Having said that, it's because you want them to honor you, but at the same time not have incentives or making the wrong decisions, and actually maybe manipulating the outcome. And you want to keep that carrying. And that is another reason why people leave it to lawyer or trustees or any other person that doesn't have an involvement with the outcomes, and they can decide on a clear and unbiased mind. Let's leave it at that. Okay. And then another core part of the will is who is the beneficiaries, right? So it's like who will receive the assets, who has the right to information, but not the control. Okay. The beneficiaries are the ones that will receive, whether it be a large sum of money, whether it be the house, the cabin, right? Those are the people that will benefit from what you have written in your will. Okay. So if that explains it, let me know in the comments if that's clear who the beneficiaries are. Okay. So now there is estates, assets, which are covered in the will, and then there is non-estate assets. So obviously, like I mentioned before, what it's in the will is the estate assets. Assets like house, business, rev share, uh, uh, downlines, and other stocks and bonds and all these other money. Money is one too. Let's not forget about that. So if If ownership and the beneficiaries don't align with the will, the will usually loses. Okay. Uh, there, whenever there is a lot of money involved, and I deal with it not on a daily basis. I wish, because that would be 365 deals a year, but on definitely on a monthly basis, right? And when you deal with a lot of large sums of money, money gives energy to whatever you're thinking. So it's kind of like it's a magnifier of what's in your head, right? So if you're dealing with negative and thoughts and you're just feeling the struggle, more money will enhance that way of thinking. Um, Prime examples are when you think about lottery winners. Why lottery winners? 95% of them don't get to keep their money, right? It's because it's when they came into the lottery, whoever plays the lottery is always looking for that hope and wish. And once they get it, they don't know what to do with it. They're just deers in the headlights. And obviously, they go and buy silly things that they just use once, well, like cars or boats or nothing. Everything in this life is kind of like it's not, it is real, but it's not like purposeful in a sense, right? Like a lot of people see it as like, oh, what is my purpose? Oh, is my purpose to buy a ton of cars and live large and have different women in my life or anything like that, right? It's like if you don't see what you want to see, going back to the quote, if you don't prepare, you're not going to get what you want, right? And that is the prime example of the quote where it says, like that if you don't prepare, you don't get what you want. You get what you prepare for. And I love always bringing the quote back in because it just ties everything together. But let's go back to the will. Digress there. Sorry about the tangents. Apologies. I kind of tend to do that. There's a lot going on in my mind, but I try to keep the show as straight as possible. Okay, so what are the legal requirements of a valid will? Okay, I want to first correct misinformation. Okay, so the requirements are you have to be in legal capacity, just like any other things in life. Contracts, you have to be in the legal capacity to write a contract. So if you have mental issues or you're drunk or you're under the influence of any substance, you are not in legal capacity to write on anything. So that is number one. You have to be in legal capacity. Also, you got to be over the age of 19. So you got to be mature. You got to be a responsible person. I don't know how responsible you are at 19, but if anybody's watching and is 19 years old in the future, good for you looking at this video. Anyways, it has to be written. Yeah, in some places you can say the word, but we have things like tools like a pen and a piece of paper. So write it down. A will needs to be written down. A will has to have the proper signatures. It has to be your signature. If anybody out there, if you're leaving $1 million, you don't think that somebody's going to look at your signature and try to contest that that's not you? Yes, I can think of a few people that might say, no, that's not in. He was not meant to give the money to whoever named the beneficiaries. So that's very important, right? Proper signature. Another important thing is proper witnesses. Who are the witnesses? Well, anybody that sees you sign that paper. And with the technology that we have now, obviously, I mean, maybe it can be distorted, but if you took videos or you took photos of your signing, that's another way of creating witness. And also in real estate now, we do a lot of things online. So if you have the computer that gives you a certificate of signature, that's considered a proper witness. Oh, that brings on to mind. This show is not about legal advice. This is just a research that I put together for wills to help people, clients, and friends to create a proper will. This is just what I would do, my opinion. Nobody has ever uh, tried. I don't try to give you legal advice. If you want proper consultation on how a will is, or what it's made of and how to build one, don't ask me. Don't ask AI. Ask some expert. If you feel comfortable in doing it yourself, go right ahead. I'm not giving you legal advice. Let's get back to the show. Sorry, disclaimer. Anyways, and then a will needs proper execution. Proper execution is just achieved by putting all these things together, right? And and putting it in clear legal terms. So we talked about it before, right? So a will needs to have an executor named. Actually, the other day I was discussing this with a friend. It doesn't have to be one executor because we'll talk about this in the mistakes. It can be multiple executors or it can be co-executors as well. So that's another thing. Who gets what? Name your beneficiaries, name your assets. Everything has to be crystal clear that the court, a judge, sees it, looks at it, and goes, okay, I get that. The house will go to him, the stocks will go to her, and then that's it. Pretty simple. It has to be super simple. If it's complicated, then people are going to be like, what did it mean? That's why it has to be in legal terms, but also has to be executable terms. As I said before, and I say now too, a lawyer is not legally required. A lot of people think of wills and then boom, oh no, I have to talk to a lawyer. No, you don't require a lawyer. I don't promote going to lawyers because they cost money. But if you have a lot of money, then you can afford one. So make your choice, make the proper one. Now, proper execution is required 100%. When this will tie into the common mistakes of wills. Okay, so the courts don't fix intentions. The will be seen by the courts. Don't get me wrong. Nobody can just leave any assets in this society, in Canada specifically. States might be the same. I'm not too sure. Again, if in Canada you are to leave any assets, everything will go through the courts. They will make legal procedures that will pass your assets on to the next person, company, or whoever wants that asset as well. Okay, so let's just take a break. Okay, five. Um, okay, so far we talked about wills. What are they? Common misconceptions or misbeliefs about them. What it takes to create a will. What's in a will? Now we'll talk about the common mistakes that people make. These are daily, and let me tell you, I got into financial advising probably just a little story here, an excerpt. What do we got? 35 minutes. Okay, I got into financial advising because at the time, one of my friends, partners in business, co-workers, fell ill. But not that he fell ill at that time. He built up his illness, and then the illness showed up at that time. We don't we don't all of a sudden get sick of cancer, right? Cancer is continuous. It starts at some point where you made a change in your life and you decided not to eat healthy, or you decided something, or even like when you decided to sit down on the couch instead of going for a walk and doing your 10,000 steps. um, it was a decision made in the past, and now you're seeing the effects of that decision. So anyways, going back to the story, my friend went through the most aggravating and toughest time of his life right at the end, and I saw what it did to him, to his family, and to the way he was looking at his life too. It felt like he regretted everything that he did, and it was quite an eye opener. And I feel empathy for the way he went through it, but at the same time, it was like, wow, I don't want this to happen to anybody else, right? And one of the things he did, he was, I don't have a will. I need to put stuff in my will. You know, like he had this company that we were partners with, right? So he decided that, oh, I need to, you know, and he did all these things all in a rush, you know, because his days were like disappearing, and this discomfort and the way and the drugs and everything, and made him like all weird and loopy. So he wasn't on the mental capacity. So he had to do it before, while he had to deal with the imminent, you know, uh, event that was going to happen, right? And and but it's what happened after that was like really incredible for me, because I just experienced what probate is. And I didn't know this. Just the same thing as farming. I didn't know how tough farming is, or anything that you started in life. You think, oh, I could do this. You know, like I got a lot of people. Oh, you're a realtor. Oh, that must be nice. It's like, nice, man. I don't have a day off. You know, I don't. I'm not bitching or complaining. I'm just saying we don't know until we know, so to speak. Truly know. But anyways, what I want to say with this and with the story of my friend is, don't leave it up to probate. Don't leave it to court. Don't leave it to the government to make the decision. It's so important. Do it for you. Do it for your family. Do it for your legacy, because you are the most important thing in your life. And what you leave behind, it's part of you. It's a piece of you. It's like that, you know, like in the movies where they can extrapolate the consciousness, right? And if you had that consciousness, you know, like you could, you know, leave your wisdom. But we don't leave our wisdom. We leave our assets. Not yet. Maybe with AI, we'll be able to leave our wisdom as well. But don't leave it to the courts, please. I'm not anti-government. I'm just like, it's your decision. Just leave it to you. Leave the decision to you. Don't be silenced. If you don't have a will, find out how to make one. Give me a call. I can help you there. My phone number is down below. Yeah, just make the proper decision. Don't leave it to the government, especially that. And the things I've heard being in the business of financial, the other one is that there is 1.1 billion funds a year that go back to the government because people can't claim them. And we'll watch this in the next 20 minutes. I'll talk about what the common mistakes are, and this is why I'm so passionate about this, and this is why I want you to think about this. If you come off this show and you're like, what is the one thing that I gotta do is I gotta look at my will. Just look at it, read it, and don't put it away into a safety deposit box. Well, do that, but make a copy and have that copy out, you know. And as the making of the show, while I was making my notes and my things, I was like, I need to look at mine. I need to update it. I haven't done all these things. Oh my God, I'm making all these mistakes. So don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I just want you to be in the same place. I know we're in the same place. So let's make a will. Let's put it together. Let's update it if you got it. And tell people where it is, because that's another part of the factor that I found out as of the making of the show. But anyways, okay, let's get back to it. 5 most common mistakes people make about their wills. Okay, so mistake number 1, improper execution. Wow. Okay, so this one is a big one, because that's why it's mistake number 1. Maybe I should have started with mistake number 5. Anyways, improper execution. What does that mean? That there were the wrong witnesses, could be. There's missing signatures, or there is do-it-yourself mistakes. Because again, you don't have to get a lawyer. And I know, like, a lot of people are not wanting to have the consultation with lawyers, and I understand that. But not to say that lawyers are creepy people or they just want your money. They're just doing their job, right? They want to get paid, and for what they do, for the responsibility and liabilities that they have to charge that money. But if you want to do it yourself, get proper education. Not just this YouTube video, but or LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever I'm streaming at, or like if you're looking at this later on, there's plenty of advice. Just be able to filter it, put it together, and now with AI, man, we can put up wills in no time. You just have to have a conversation. So do-it-yourself mistakes are not that continuous, but obviously there's friends and family that probably that don't even have access to technology. Maybe they don't even watch YouTube. Maybe they don't even know this, but they still need a will, because this is the most important one. Because if the will is challenged or invalid, and you are missing some of the key components that we spoke about, or the executor doesn't want to deal with all that emotional pressure or emotional damage, then the will be considered by the courts invalid. And then again, the government will make the decision for you, or that one person, the judge, will make the decision for you. We call it the courts, but the judge is one person. So somebody's going to make the decision for you, but not you. So this one happens quite often, especially when we don't update our will. But we'll talk about that, because that's another mistake. Okay, so what happens after death if there is improper execution? Well, the will be challenged or invalid. Intestacy rules will apply. So that means that the government and everybody, that piece of paper now is null and void. So all your beneficiary, everybody will just be scrambling. It will take a ton of time to figure it out, because once the government takes over, forget about it. It takes a ton of time, right, to for the courts to make the decision, and it's going to cost money, and that money is going to come out of your funds, nobody else's. And if there's not enough money to cover it, the state will be frozen, and nobody will get anything except the government and the lawyers and the judge. Not over rent. Okay. Anyways, court delays and legal costs. Yes, I said that. I just read my notes. A will can exist. A will can be in place, but it might not still work. So what the executor does, takes the will and goes to the court and files it in with the death certificate and starts the probate process. So all that takes time, and the court will look at it and find it's valid. Is it valid or it's not invalid? Is it being contested or is not being contested? And let me tell you, if you're leaving more than 200,000 of assets, yeah, it might. You know what I know? Exactly. Anyways, mistake number two. Mistake number two. Assuming that the will controls everything. Beneficiary designation override the will. Joint ownership surprises. Okay, so in real estate, we can do joint tenancy, and joint tenancy is when one passes away, the other benefits from the estate. So, as in a will, you could be joint tenant with your parents, for example, and then one sibling can be on the title, and then all the other siblings are not on the title, because whatever decision your dad or your mom made didn't choose them. And then all of a sudden, it's in the will that you want to leave the ownership, and then there is like a huge contest of who's going to get what of the house, right? So that said, the will doesn't control everything. So will control some things, but not everything, and especially when it comes to money. So and also, my mom always says, I will divide everything in three. We're three siblings, so I will divide everything in three. But that's not set in stone. Sometimes people give more to some people, to some beneficiaries, than others. And if the beneficiaries are not with it, they don't like that choice, they will contest the will. And a lot of issues come to the courts. And let me tell you again, if it's over 200,000, you will have some contesting there and some really nasty family conflicts. So yes, a will is good to have. It's a must have. You should let some people know, some people maybe not know, and keep it until the end. But still, it all depends on your situation, on how you conducted your life, and what legacy you want to leave. So having said that, there's so much I could talk about there, but let's leave it at that. So yes, the consequences would be family conflicts, and that is sad to see something like that happen after you pass on. And then a lot of people will contest that because, some people write it down and then they act differently. And then the common word that comes up to the court, that's not what they wanted, what he wanted, what she wanted. And so, again, the more more the probate more time it spends in court, the more money it's going to cost, the less money your beneficiaries are going to get. And then that's why I was saying the will has to be clear for a 5-year-old to read it, understand it, comprehend it, pass on, move on, done. The faster, the better. The simpler, the better. Mistake number 3. So I don't know if this is the most important or the least important. Well, we'll just have to figure it out. Uh, Mistake number 3: choosing the wrong executor. Um, there's there's a few characteristic of an executor, and again, that's why a lot of people put it onto lawyers or notaries. It's because they don't put the emotional into it, right? And obviously, it's like when you're thinking of somebody to be an executor, you think of like your best friends or your parents or your wife or somebody else like that. But the will actually executor has to be somebody that you know, but you don't have any sort of like the executor can't benefit from the will. So if you name somebody in the will, they shouldn't be an executor. And so to speak, I am named an executor on one of my uh, uh, parents' will, and I have to change that. I just learned that too. So um, that's a huge things to ask for a friend slash knowing kind of person, because um, you don't know what their life is like. So a will takes time and takes efforts, right? And you're not getting paid. And like I said at the beginning of the show, it's a job more than a noble partake of someone's life. And you have to understand what the issues are, and what I was recommended when I was talking with AI. It was like, well, name a few cooperating executors, because in that way you can take care of the multiple tasks, the multiple hats. I was researching how many things do they have to do. Oh, they have to do accounting, they have to do legal work, they have to do emotional work, so they're kind of like psychiatrists. They got to do so much that it's like, how do you ask that of anybody? Like it reminded me of the questions: if you were to pass away and your income is gone from your family, who's going to take over? Right? That's just as important question as this, right? Who's going to execute your will? Anyways, what the consequences would be from this mistake? Well, like I said, there's going to be delays, there's going to be errors, and there's going to be burnout, and there's going to be like extremely high professional fees, because um, if the executor doesn't know what he's doing, he will have to get advice from somebody else, and you will have to pay, right? So this is very crucial. I mean, this is an important part of your life, but it's your afterlife, right? And and that is why, going back to the reference of the Bible, um, it's a big book. There was a lot of instructions that were said there to conduct your way to be a decent human being. Okay, so an executor doesn't inherit, like, I'll leave you with this for the executor. An executor doesn't inherit authority. They accept the liability. So in those words, there is liability. Yes, the executor can actually be sued. And that's huge. For every decision they make in your part, they're the ones living in this life, and they will be the ones liable. Okay, so that's another important role that you're giving your executor. So choose wisely. Mistake number 4. Oh, this one is a good one. Never updating the will. Okay, there's so much that happens in life, so much has to be updated. Okay, 3 number things of what happens when you have to update the will is: number 1, divorce. If you change your wife, okay, you got it. You got to change your will, right? Oh, I'm leaving everything. And then your new wife or your new family, it's not going to get anything. Gosh, that's going to be a mess and a half. So, number one, important death of beneficiaries. What happens if a beneficiary dies? Who gets what, when, right? So, you got to update your beneficiaries. You got to keep constant contact, pretty much. And I'll tell you one thing if I have time. Asset changes. If you're buying a house, make your will. You don't want that house to go to the government and then get sold. Imagine that. Uh, uh, and any asset changes, gotta record them, put them on the will. Who's going for? Okay. Don't let the government decide that. So I'm speeding up a little bit because we have only 4 minutes left. Uh, valid but wrong outcomes. Valid but wrong outcomes are the consequences of never updating the will, which is the most important thing. Okay. Court interpretation battles. Okay. So now everybody doesn't know, oh, well, he's got this asset, but it's not in the will. What are we going to do with it? Oh, he wants it. Oh, she wants it. Where are we going to put it? Right. So don't leave it up to the courts. Update your will if you started one. And that's another important thing, because if you don't know who your will is going, where your assets are going to, you're going to have a hard time. Well, not you, obviously, you're gone, but your family is going to have a hard time, because somebody that doesn't know the family structures will make the decision for you. Okay, super important. Mistake number 5: no liquidity plan. Oh my God. And this is why there's 1 billion of unclaimed funds in the government's pockets. And I'm just talking about, sorry, I just scrambled. I'm just talking about BC. This was a fact from, there's this company that does concierge work at Everest. This is not a plug. I really liked their presentation that I once had on another financial institution. And it was about how to prepare for the event of, right? And this company offered like concierge services. They would take the body from the hospital or wherever it was, bring it to the funeral home, get it all dressed. Everything was covered. You had a little bit of insurance set aside to cover all the costs. And this brings to mistake number 5: no liquidity plan. So if you don't have liquid cash that it's easily accessible, your executor, and you have all in assets, your executor will be stuck. And then your assets, instead of going to your beneficiaries, will have to get sold. And that's called liquidating, right? So, and also you'll have to pay your taxes, right? And you will have huge problem. And, like your family will resent you. Obviously, from the story I told you about my friend, I know a little bit about what happens. So I am making sure that this won't happen to my family. But again, it's a super important role, okay, that you have. Okay, so the executor responsibility map. I want to say this because when you pick your executor, it's super important. I'll try to be as fast as possible and go through this. So what an executor actually does, okay? So the executor has to know the location of the will. He's named in it. He should know it. If it's in a safety deposit box, if it's in your safe at home, if it's at buddy's place, if it's in your counter, if it's in your drawer, make copies, but the original has to be brought to the court, okay? So then he's got to secure all the properties. He's got to lock them up, make sure that they're watched, that nobody's going to come and take stuff away. He's got to secure the assets. So he's got to know where everything is, okay? He's got to obtain the death certificate. He's got to notify every single institution, your bank, your government, your taxes, your everything, your cell phone company. All the bills have to be stopped at that point, okay? Then he's got to apply for probate, right? If it's required. If you've done a proper asset transfer, then there's no need to do probate. And we can talk about this in another show. And this is a very good part of it too. He's got to swear affidavits. What are affidavits? They're just recorded accounts of what happened in the life, in the process. He's got to respond to the court requests. So the courts are going to ask him for documents or anything like that. He's got to defend the will if challenged because he's the executor. You give him the responsibility, so he's got to defend it. So he's got to hire the lawyers or whatever to make proper defense. He's got to do the financial administrator. He's got to open the estate accounts because he's not going to pay for it. So he's got to transfer all your funds, put them in an estate accounts, and pay everything. He's got to collect the assets. He's got to track your incomes as well, because if you're making income from your properties or your assets, he's got to track those. He's got to be an accountant in this sense. Okay, so he's got to track the expenses. He's got to pay the debts. He's got to pay the obligations, right? Everything has to be taken care of. Okay, the tax responsibility, final tax, personal tax return. That's the one that's the big one. That's the huge one. We talk about this in RSPs. Okay, so then he's got to file estate returns. He's got to pay the taxes before the distribution because, there's property transfer taxes and all that other taxes. We're full of taxes. That's another show, okay? So he's got to obtain the tax clearance. He's got to get the go ahead, okay? If he distributes too early, guess who's liable? He is, the executor. He or she, sorry. I mean, it could be a she too. Probably she would be able to handle it a lot better than a he. He's got to maintain the properties. He's got to maintain the insurance. You don't want your assets to burn down, especially if it's real estate. He's got to manage or oversee the farm business. Speaking of farmers in finance, right? He's got to manage all the assets of the farm. He's got to, the livestock. What's happening to that? Who can take over? Hopefully your family. But if not, another one. Prevent rushed sales. You don't want to sell rushed, desperate, or anything because we all know it. You get less money, okay? Communication. He's got to report to beneficiaries. He's got to be consistently on the phone. He's got to talk to everyone that that you're leaving something to. He's got to manage the conflicts. He doesn't want to bring them to the courts because then they'll mess it up. They'll slow down the process. He's got to handle emotional stress. Whoa. He's got to finalize the distribution. He's got to distribute the assets. He's got to provide the final accounting numbers. He's got to close the estates. So there are 5 hats, okay, to summarize it all. I'm going over, but who cares? He's got to be an administrator. He's got to be an accountant. He's got to be a communicator. He's got to be a risk manager, and he's going to be an emotional buffer. What a job, okay? So next time somebody asks you to be an executor, come talk to me. If the executor can't sustain the work, the plan breaks. So that's also what you got to get. You got to get somebody that is reliable, that has not done it before, but that you think that he can do all these jobs. And it's not easy to find somebody like that nowadays. Not even lawyers could do that. But if they're getting paid, maybe. Okay. So that's it. That's all. Okay. I think I put the plan across. Sorry, I couldn't keep up with the slides. But final reflection here. Planning is an act of care. You care about the people that you're leaving. Okay. You don't want to leave it to them to figure it out. That's number one common misconception. The figuring out part is so egoistic. You gotta leave your Bible, your legacy. It's up to you. You make those decisions, okay? So make don't stay in silence. Do something. If it's like just writing a piece of paper and then you don't know what you're doing, just ask. There's so much information, just ask. But just do it properly. Have a will. Start a will. If you don't have one and you're above the age of 19, start one. It doesn't matter if it's just for your car or your, I don't know, your famous crystal or your beautiful guitar. Just make a will, okay? Just put it down on paper. I know it's like tough talk to yourself kind of thing, but just do it, okay? It's clarity, like what I wanted to portray in this show is like clarity prevents conflict. We're so full of it. We're like addicted to conflict nowadays. It's like all we watch is the news. What does the news tell us? It's conflict. Why? Because we get so turned on by them. Oh man, screw it. Stop conflicting. Okay, make a life of the right choices. So the will is your number one choice for today. Go out there, get your will done. If you're watching this at a later date, this will be evergreen. It's February 28th, 2026. I'll leave it here with you. I'm going to start a newsletter pretty soon. Had a few requests about different parts that I talked to about the show, and I'm going to put them on my YouTube channel. Link is above here. And I just want to put together a channel on YouTube where I'm actually talking about real life events, real stories that people can connect to and don't want to experience or want to experience, whichever. You know, if you want to experience financial freedom, I'm on the journey. I'm not saying that I am financially free. Far from it. I am, in a state of gratitude that I'm here. I'm with you. You're watching this in the future. And I want to share my stories, my experiences, what happens in life. Because every time I find something out, I just want the world to know it, right? And another part is know about health, know about you. Without health, you don't have anything in this life. In the past life, maybe it gets better just being the spirit floating around. Okay, so there's my number underneath right here scrolling. Call me if you need any help. I'm eager to help, like truly. This comes from the heart. I want to help people achieve their greatest dreams, and I want to help myself achieve those dreams as well with you. 2 million trees, like I said before. Next show, I'm not too sure yet. It's always whatever life exposes me to. We'll keep it there. Again, you're watching Farmers in Finance. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching in the future. I am Rico. I'm in Headley. Come down, visit in the Okanagan, beautiful Okanagan. It's a beautiful day today. I wish you a great life, a great journey, and hope to see you out there. Call me or send me a text message if you're watching this on LinkedIn. That's fantastic. I'll see you around. See you next time, Wednesday at 8 o'clock starting next week. All right. Until then, thanks for watching again. Have a great